everyone, I am Lynn, and today I want to talk about something really interesting that happened. So Trumpet, and yes, I'm saying his name a little differently just to avoid all the flags and all that other stuff that happened, even though I'm sure the little spy bots out there will still find me. But nonetheless, Trumpet had a rally, and the really interesting thing about it was the flag that was hung at that rally. So let me get right to the question here. It says there were no stars on the flag at Trumpet's rally. Why? What is going on? And as I look through my notes here, I want to break down some things that came to me when I looked at this question and I did this reading. So it is true that he's shown a symbol for what is to come, but what does that even mean? Those in the military know that a U.S. flag with no stars, or maybe the blue is so dark that they don't show the contrast of having stars, it means that if you don't surrender or stop what you're doing, then there's going to be basically no mercy and it's game on. It's a warning that if things don't change immediately, then the confrontation will be imminent, and there's really nothing that any party can do once it gets to that point to make it stop. The real goal I got that came out even more so in this question was to determine who is the real enemy in all this. What do I mean by that is it the powers that were? Is it the current administration? Is it, Trumpet? Can he be trusted in his role and what is going on here? I mean, he does have some really strong alliances with Israel, and they most definitely have strong alliances with the powers that were. So much is going on here. How do you even break this down, and what do you look at? Who do you trust? I saw, when I thought about this, that in reality, it's a little of all of the above that we have to question, and all of the above play a role in this. There's some very powerful powers that were controlling the world. We know this. We experience it. We're living in it right now. They fully dominated the monarchy, even more so now, and they have aligned with most all of the developed countries that are out there because they want to get their grasp in their hands and everybody's pocket and control people, that kind of thing. I see that to some extent, even Trumpet has been breached in serving a role of giving people hope while also being a little bit of a distraction. So it's really interesting. I really aligned with a lot of, wanting change. We want to drain the swamp. We want to do all these things. But it's come to me as I've watched this evolution of all this. I've felt the energies of it. I've seen how all these wheels, the cogs in this wheel are working together. And even though Trumpet might stand for something, when we do want the change and we want all these people brought to justice, to some extent, I think they're allowing him to play this role. Granted, they don't like him. They don't like that he's their opposition, but they're allowing it to play out and manipulating it to serve their agenda. And I'll get into this a little more as I get into this reading deeper. We all know that they're not going to stop, and this flag is to serve the purpose of showing supporters behind Trumpet to expect surrender. But we know that it's not going to be an option. This makes us feel like there's hope, but logically and rationally, we know that that simply is not true. When people start to realize that the hope is gone, that is when we're going to dig deep, and that is when real change happens, when we aren't living in this hope mentality, this praying that someone else is going to do all the hard work so then we don't have to actually do it. I see when we realize that that's not going to happen, that's when we're going to actually get strong. And this is what I was getting to a little bit earlier. I saw their playbook emerge, and it looked like a big checklist of things that they need to accomplish in order to get to their end goal. World domination, full control of basically every faction of everybody's life. They look at us like numbers. We are there to serve a purpose for them. We're not individual people. We are just numbers. We're a social security number paying taxes. We are people that do work. We're people that want to put and contribute to society. We're not individual people. So how do they get to this goal? How do they get this? You get all these millions of people. How do you actually do this? One, you create a lot of social unrest. They're doing that. They're destabilizing every country out there. You manipulate the culture. You change the culture. You have culture clashes. You create wars between people that don't even exist. You create this hostility. So they get a big check mark for that one. They're doing that. Lots of indoctrination. Look at the schools. Look at the curriculum that they're teaching these kids. It's really gone fast track into that mindset that they want people to have. Everybody's the victim. Everybody should be offended. And they are perpetuating it. That it's lack of accountability for people and more because it's someone else's fault. That's the trend that's out there. But that just adds to the crumbling of society. You disconnect people from their inner God, their faith. You know, countries are founded on their religious convictions and their culture and all of those things. So they go and destabilize the culture. You're taking, you know, God out of things. You're disconnecting people from their inner God. And you put all these other distractions out there, you know, the reality shows, the gadgets, the electronics, all these other things. You're taking people from that solidarity that they have within themselves, and you're creating something else. Create economic hardship between the stock markets, inflation, all of this stuff. You know, they go and they manipulate supply chains. They mess with the truckers. They're doing all this stuff. They know what they're doing. They're creating a situation where inflation can occur, which adds to the economic hardship. So you get people struggling financially. Then you create food shortages. How many food plants have had some mysterious thing happen? It's burnt down here. This blew up. You know, now fertilizer costs a fortune. They're doing all this kind of stuff so they can manipulate the food. Then they control the money. You know, a lot of us see that writing on the wall of it going digital. And then what do you have to do to actually get that? Rumors, they might put an expiration date on it too, so you don't spend it, you lose it. They are not going to allow you to save like they used to. So that's in progress. That's a work in progress. And then what do you do to top it off? The cherry on the sundae, you create a war because they benefit on both sides of it. So you have people that are desperate. They are hungry. They are maybe having financial issues. You create all this strife in someone's life. And then what do? Create a war. And that is how you control a mass population. And they're doing it. Well, I'm seeing this. Everybody's seeing this. Powerful people that get rich on both sides of war. Just like I said, it's about world domination. The best way to fight this is to see what is happening and what you can do to exit the system. Become as independent and self-reliant as possible. Look for things or skills that you might be able to barter. Develop skills for yourself. Stockpile. Learn about herbs, health. Anything that you can do that will benefit you and possibly someone else is going to be a tool in your toolbox that you can use for the future. Homeschool, if it is feasible and possible where you're at. Anything you do is going to put you in a better position later. And I feel like I want to apologize because I don't want this reading, even though it is very heavy, to be so doom and gloom about things that I foresee happening. I want to create an awareness, a mindfulness, and maybe just maybe it will evoke a thought that someone's going to go out and maybe take charge of their health or learn about oils or herbs or Bach flowers or anything that they can do to make their lives better and a little less dependent on the system. Maybe you find some bartering thing in your community that you can do, trade services. Maybe you have an ability to stockpile some element of wealth that can't be, you know, tampered with later. Anything that you can do is really going to benefit you. And that's truly what I want to be the message or the overall takeaway of everything I had to say here. So again, I am Lynn. Thank you so much for listening. Please don't forget to like and share my work. It really helps me out. And if you want to hop on over to the blog, you want a personal reading, Reiki session, anything like that, all my services are listed there, and I can be found at psychicfocus.blogspot.com. Take care, have a great day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.